Okay, as I just, settle in here on the couch to watch Fitzy's Fabrications, the latest episodes out. I can't wait to see it. I want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy another wonderful episode of Tin Horse Restoration. I just realized I'm on my way home, and I'm and all right, picked up some calipers from work, and then I thought I didn't even tell you what I got. I ended up buying more than what I had originally gone there for. All right, I'm just gonna back up a bit, and I want to talk about something that was on the door, the interior door skin video. These are the sacrifices that we have to make. All right, another successful adventure here at Tin Horse. Everything, and the older I get, I know less about more. If that makes any sense to you, because it certainly makes sense to me. Anyway, all right, you can see it's just beautiful out here today. So I just unloaded the parts that I picked up yesterday. And there's our frosty pile right there. So we're gonna turn our little heater on. I think the gas tank's over by the door somewhere. It still got some fuel in it, even though I drained it. I've still got to empty it out. So I'm gonna turn the heater on and do a little defrosting while I go in and have some lunch. All right, so you should be asking yourself, Colin, how did those parts get in the back of your truck? Well, let's find out.
It's a Facebook finds Tin Horse adventure.
On the road again. Yeah, that's me, and it's a marketplace find day. That's correct. We scored a little bit of we did a deep dive on Marketplace, and I got the shovel out and I did some digging, and lo and behold, it looks like I'm about to reap the benefits of that. So a couple days before Christmas, really, I'll give this a quick version. A couple days before Christmas, I saw an ad for a car that was for sale. I had seen it a long time ago. I had saved it. The ad had changed slightly, and it said parting out. And so I called him right away because buying the whole car didn't interest me because he was asking a lot of money. And so I said, "You're parting it out?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, I'm looking for some front suspension parts and some rear leaf springs." And I had been hunting rear springs, and the best I could do price-wise was $500 plus tax plus 3 hours of driving to go pick it up. So it was well over $600 for a set of rear leafs, and depression had set in because when you add in all the front suspension parts and everything, bushings and everything else that I needed, we were going to be upwards of $3,000, and that wasn't going to work at keeping the car under 10K US, and that's been my whole goal right from the start. So I got my shovel out and I got digging on Marketplace. So when this said parting out, I got on the phone, got some pictures. Turns out it's my lucky day. Leaf springs are exactly what I'm looking for. 5 leaves instead of 4 with a 1-inch lift, still in great shape. And a front suspension with new ball joints and new sway bar end links and some new bushings. And the only thing that's no good in the whole thing, because I'm getting spindles, brakes, everything, probably need a set of calipers, and I'm probably going to need a set of shocks and maybe the saddles. I don't know what condition the saddles are. But anyway, I'm going to see it all when I get here today. So $400. That's correct. $400. I didn't argue with him. I'll go over my theories later. But yeah. So I'm on my way. Let's get at her. I'll chime back in. If I'm brave enough to ask today, and he lets me, I'll shoot some video. All right. Talk to you soon. Okay, so this is Dan's 1973 Mustang Fastback Sports Roof, not a Mach 1. He's got a 351 Windsor in there. It's a beast. It's for sale if anybody's interested. I know I think it's a 383 stroker. But if you drop something in the comments, I can hook you up with Dan. And that's Southern Ontario. So so Dan was nice enough to have me over. We had a good chat. A great guy, and most of the parts that I was looking for were off the car already. But I thought I'd shoot some video and show you what the car looked like and how far he had gotten at selling stuff. Couldn't rip it off quick enough. He had quite a few people interested and coming over. So unfortunately, the car looked really nice. A great motor and everything, but the rot had gotten into the frame rails, and he had enough. It was time to move on. So that's Dan's car, and I really appreciate the time I spent with him. He was a great guy. You never know, I might be back to see him for a few more parts. Well, just left Dan's house. What a great guy. Really great guy. My favorite part of this whole thing that I do is meeting people. It really is. It's such a joy to meet decent folk, and one of the first class guy all around. So that was pretty awesome. I shot a little bit of content. I'll do some voiceover, and you'll get to see it. But yeah, Dan's a good guy, and it's got a really nice 351 Windsor there that's done up if somebody's looking for a motor. That thing's a beast. Anyway, you'll see it in the video. All right, back at you. All right, I just realized I'm on my way home, and I'm and the mind's going a mile a minute. I'm trying to figure out what I got to do with these two parts, and then I thought I didn't even tell you what I got. I ended up buying more than what I had originally gone there for. Originally, this all started because I was looking for a set of rear leaf springs and front suspension parts, upper lower control arm, that kind of thing. I got a set of spindles, but anyway, I originally cut the deal with him for we started talking. We talked about the front suspension, and I said sway bar. He had brand new sway bar end links and new ball joints and upper and lower control arms. The lowers were brand new, and he had coil springs that were in decent shape. Car sat up a little high. I saw some pictures, so I thought, well, this is perfect. This is exactly what I need. And then when I asked him, he said he had leaf springs, and they turned out they were 5-leaf, and they're in great shape. So they need some new bushings and some new hardware, new shackles, but it is what it is. And but anyway, they're going to work for me. They're going to be the right ride height and everything. So when I got there, I said, what else do you got? Colin's not stupid. I went with a little extra cash in my pocket. So, there's those shock tower reinforcements with the rubber bumpers on them that cover the coil springs at the front. I managed to his were okay. They're not brilliant. They're a little punky, but I think they'll clean up in the Sandblaster, and they'll be all right. The holes in that they weren't all rusted out. So that'll do for that. And then, as we're chatting, Dan and I said, what else do you got? Not thinking, because that's something Colin does a lot, doesn't think. And he says, well, I got a brand new gas tank. Okay. With, with the pickup arm and or the float arm, right? I don't know what you call it. Sending unit? Yeah, sending unit. So the entire thing comes as a one piece, or it's got the float on it and everything. And I went, okay, how much do you want for that? $100. Deal. So I ended up coming back with a little more than what I went with, and the gas tank was a huge score. It's a brand new tank, it's got no rust on it, so it's full of gas, old stinky gas. So I got to clean that out. But other than that, she's a beauty. So that's where we're at. Like I said, Dan, great guy. I'm hoping I can go back and see him one day, and maybe there'll be more stuff there. We'll have to wait and see. So other than that, we're all good. I'm pretty happy. He does have a C4 without the bell housing on the floor there that he wants $200 for. I may give him a call on that. I recently found out that the C4 from the 302 from the 72 parts car was not a C4. See, this is where, it'd be nice if I knew everything about everything, but there are a couple of things where I'm a little weak, and unfortunately, I didn't pay close attention to the transmission. I just yanked her out, and it turns out she's not what I thought she was. I just assumed it was a C4, and I should have realized it's an FMX. So, the C6s for those years are pretty obvious. Anyway, I'm going to see if the bell housing, there's the big question. And, I'm sure you guys are watching this video, and probably half of you a lot smarter than me, and you'll have the answer before, I finish the question, because you know where I'm going. But maybe the bell housing I have off the parts car will fit on the C4 and be able to bolt that thing up to a 302. I don't know. Is the bolt pattern on the body of a C4 the same as an FMX? I don't know. I'm going to find that out today, though, but that's one of those elusive questions where I may have to go to ChatGPT and see what they come up with. Anyway, I'm not scared to admit to you that there are things I have no clue about. And, for some of you who have known that your whole life because you're a rocket scientist, good for you. There are lots of things that I've known my whole life, too, about those cars. And some of the things that I've forgotten because I'm a silly old man. So, but the important thing is that I'm not scared to admit to you, and that's part of the reason I'm doing this channel, right? That's the whole purpose of this channel, is to show you that don't be scared because you don't know everything or you can't do everything. Just get at her. Just get at her, eh? Because it's not that hard. And there are people that'll help you rather than make fun of you. And if you're one of those guys that likes to poke fun at somebody because they don't have the knowledge that you have, then do me a favor. Go buy a GM or a Chrysler or something, because I don't want you in the Ford family. I certainly don't want you in the Mustang family. Because that's not what the hobby and the community is all about. It's about helping each other. And I have some ability at the body level of sanding and painting and that kind of thing, and I'm not going to sit and brag that I know what I'm doing. I'm going to show you that you can learn and you can do this, because if I can do it, you can do it. And I'm not scared to change a floor panel. And yeah, maybe my welding's not the greatest or whatever, but in the end, what matters is what the job looks like, and is it good enough to consider it a respectable restoration. That's what we're after. And as a hobbyist, yeah, I'm not going to be perfect, and I'm not going to know everything. And it doesn't matter how many shop manuals I read, or history of Mustangs that I read, or all the things that I immerse myself in. I'm not going to know everything about everything. And the older I get, I know less about more. If that makes any sense to you, because it certainly makes sense to me. Anyway, Dan's a great guy, and I'd like to say thank you to him because it was a fun day. So I know it's quick, and you're in and out of there, and and you'd like to spend more time, and it's cold, but if I had been in the summertime, it might have been a little better. But I didn't get to see my buddy Ricky today. I was hoping to see him, and unfortunately, that didn't work out. It's hard to coordinate these kind of things. I got to be back at a certain time, and it's not easy. But we're making it work, and looking forward to slapping this all together. So, hang on, because there's more video coming up. All right, another successful adventure here at Tin Horse. All the way to Pigeon Lake and back, just 5 minutes outside of Orangeville. I've got today's bounty in the back, and I'm a happy camper. I left the house, I think it was like 10:30, and it's 4 o'clock. So yeah, it's basically going to have been a 6-hour day. But these are the sacrifices that we have to make. So anyway, going home to get out of here. All right, picked up some new calipers from work. These are rebuilds. There's our covers. There's our calipers. We cleaned them up with alcohol, taped everything off, pistons, and gonna start spraying. It's gonna take a couple days because we gotta get a couple coats and we gotta do both sides and blah blah blah. But anyway, I'll show them to you when you're done. Okay, here's our calipers all painted up. Just cleaned them with alcohol. Shot them with red caliper paint, and I put yellow caliper paint on the covers, and then I shot the matching yellow color over top. There's the other one. They come with a casting code here. These two are different. Clearly they're not an original pair. Okay. There's the other code there. And what I did was I wrote those codes on the box so that I knew which one was right and which one was left. Now, it's the only reason that they're like this is because you want the nipple facing in the right direction. That's the key to all this. So, and then anywhere where my pads sit, and I got a little bit of paint on there, like down in here. I'm not gonna worry about that. We're gonna put a little brake grease on there, and they'll be fine. So that's it. These ones come with the piston has been clear coated already to keep the rust out of it. So it's got a clear coat in there. I'll wipe that down with grease too, just to make sure it's all right. I got 3 or 4 coats of paint on here. Nice light coat so it's not thick and gooby. And is gooby a word? I don't know if gooby's a word. Anyway, I've still got the brackets to sandblast and do. And but those are cute. I might get I'm gonna look at Running Horse logos that I can clear coat over top. I saw some on Etsy I can order, so I'm thinking about that. Anyway, those are ready to go. They're going back in the box with the rubbers and everything that go with them, and they'll be all ready to go in the car. Okay, Here's our coil springs. They're in really good shape. I'm gonna stick them in the Sandblaster and clean the surface rust off them. But these are looking very healthy. There's no, it's just surface rust. There's no flaking or anything. So I think we can restore these and bring them back to their former glory. So what are we gonna do to tweak them? Well, we're gonna lower the car. So our first thing is we line them both up here upside down, because this is the top, right, where you get your rubbers that sit up in the top of the shock tower, and that's the bottom that sit on your saddles. So we're gonna check the height of each one here, right to the there we go. You know, this is going to be tough, but you're 17 and a quarter. We go to this one here. Well, miraculously, we're only 17. So this one is a tad bit longer, the one closest to us. So let me just put the camera down for a second. Just want to double check. Okay, we got exactly 1/4 inch difference. So what we'd like to do, and I'll show you how we're going to clean that up. Because it could be one is just, well, you know what? There's many reasons why one could be different than the other. Anyway, our goal is to drop the front of the car. And I'd like to tell you that I'd like to drop it 2 inches at the front. And I fear that if I do that, I'm starting to get close to dangerous territory. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a compromise. I'm going to run inch to 1.5 inches lower. Let's say 1.5 inches. We're going to push it. So what do we cut off our spring to drop the car 1.5 inches at the front? Now this isn't a science. There's ways to figure it all out. I've done all the YouTube videos of all the different ways. But what you have to remember is that this and this they don't sit out at the end of the control arm, the upper control arm and the lower control arm and the saddle. They sit about halfway, and maybe it's a little more than half, maybe it's a little less. To be honest, I didn't look, I don't really care. I watched another guy who calculated it all out, and what he came to on most cars, most classics, is that if you're looking to drop 1 inch, you cut 1/2 inch off, because you're about halfway in the arm and the arm extends past. So if you're dropping this down, you know, the distance over here is going to be greater than the distance here. And this is where, you know, this is where your spindle ends up and your tire ends up. So if we go down here 3/4 of an inch in our overall height, then we should be dropping somewhere around 1.5 inches out here by the tire. If this was, you know, if we were looking at this head on for the driver's side. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to measure these up, and I'm going to measure them both the same. So that will correct the 1/4 inch difference that we get from the left one to the right one. Now, that might be a compression issue. Maybe one is worn a little more than the other. Maybe they were never right in the first place. I have no idea. But I don't have anything jammed in this end. Here, we're pretty flat. And again, here, we're pretty flat. So I'm not gonna leave the 1/4 inch difference in. So we're gonna take it out. So I'm gonna mark both of them. We'll mark them, we're gonna call it 17 because that was 17, this one's 17 and a 1/4. So we'll run our cuts at 16 and a 1/4. That's where we'll be drawing our line to make our cut. All right, does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. No, you watch me do it, you'll understand. So let me get some measurements and some lines marked on here. All right. This is our bigger one. This is our 17 and a 1/4 one. And there is 3/4 down from 17 is 16 and a 1/4. That's it right there, bang on. Okay, so I'm gonna mark. All right, there's our 16 and a 1/4 mark there. And I went ahead and marked this one right there. They're both almost identical in where they're being cut off. You see that? So, you know, maybe the end of this flares up a little bit, and that's what's giving us part of the 1/4 inch. But I feel pretty confident that if I turn this one so that mark's facing me perfectly, and I turn this one to the same spot, there you go. There's a tiny little bit more getting cut off this one. Anyway, that's where we're at. Okay, there's our cut line. And there's our cut line. No confusion. And that should get us about 1.5 inch drop. Or somewhere around there. Like I said, it's not a science. So I'm not looking to be perfect. Just want the front of the car to come down a little bit. And I think that's gonna serve us very well for the look I'm after anyway. All right, on to the Sandblaster and the paint booth. All right, we're in the garage. Didn't have a chance to run the heater today, so it's gotten kind of cold in here. But anyway, hang on. Why are we not plugged in? I think we have power now. Oh yeah! Let's get it cutting! Okay, if you remember, I marked my cut lines. Here we go. Bouncing everything around all over the place. Woo-hoo. Anyway, let's gonna measure this up. See where we're at here. So hang on. Well, you can see that. There's our difference in our length that we're gonna be cutting. And that's the difference that makes up our 1/4 inch height difference. You know, and you think I'm gonna lose sleep over figuring out how we got to a different height? Not gonna happen. We're just gonna get cutting her. There's our difference right there. Nothing to write home about. Okay, got that done. Let's get them blasted. You know, I could honestly sit here and do this all day if it wasn't so cold in here. I know I'm whining. So I started on the upper control arm. These are really a beautiful shape, other than all the, the crap that's on them. I've got some work to do on the Sandblaster to put a cyclone in. I'll show you that when I get that. So what I did was I took I don't know what you call these. It's those kind of wheels on the grinder, and I started cleaning up this spring. So I'm just playing around. It's a Friday night. I'm trying to kill a couple hours by getting ahead of things. I had to come out and fix one of the gloves on my Sandblaster. So I've got too much dust floating around in there while I'm trying to blast, and that's causing me not to be able to see what I'm doing. And so I'm going to try hooking the cyclone up to it tomorrow and seeing if that helps things. Hopefully that'll clear the air. It's a cyclone attachment you hook onto that. I'll show you when I get it done. I'm sure most of you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I've got the old calipers to pull off here so we can get the brackets out of there, spindles out of there, take the rotors out, get those back plates cleaned up and painted. I got a lot of work to do. I still got the leaf springs to take apart and get the bushings out and get those in the Sandblaster. I'm going to have to rig something up with the doors so I can slide them in. There. So it's not going to be easy. The bonus is that these upper control arms, let me pull one up here for you. Go look. They've still got the, hang on. Okay, sorry about that. These lower control arms are almost like brand new. So other than the grease that's popped out of there. I got to unbolt them, get the bolts out of here. Give them a good bath. You can see here, they're in great shape. So we're going to clean those up. We're going to, these are the riveted kind, so they don't come out. So you can get the riveted ball joints or the screw-in ones. This is the riveted ones. So we'll have to clean it up with the ball joints in it and get them all painted and ready to go. But I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to shoot a little bit more video to finish this up this week, because I'm not going to get all this done in time to post a video. So I think what I'll do is I'll get the machine working tomorrow. I'll show you what's going on. I'll paint up the springs, get those finished, and then I'll get my video right now. When I come back next week with the next week's video, I'll just show you everything all done, because I'll probably be doing it during the week at night, putting it back together. Got the new calipers to go back on. I don't have my rotors yet. I got to pick them up from work. There was more than one available. We were talking about bearings. I think there was more than one bearing available that, we're not, we do modern parts. We don't do classic parts at work. So whenever we're looking stuff up, it's not cut and dry. So anyway, Max is the master at that. I get him on that on Monday or Tuesday. And I'm going to pull the old ones out so that we know what we're dealing with, and then we can match them up when they come in and make sure we get the right ones. So I got to get new bearings for the front. These might be all right, but I'm going all the bother. We're going to put new ones in. Like I said, we'll get those caliper brackets painted, the spindles painted and cleaned up. And those back plates are, the dust covers are really good. So I'm looking forward to getting those done. I got to figure out what color I'm going to do. Red, yellow, black. Anyway, you can see here we don't have a rusty mess. These parts that we picked up from Dan are awesome. They're all in great condition. We don't have any serious rust problems here. Just surface rust we got to clean off. So, like I said, the bottoms are good. The tire or the sway bar end links are like almost brand new. And then we've got underneath here. Let me see. I'll pull this up. Make short work of this, and there's our shock tower. I don't know what they call these. They got the rubbers on them. They're in really good shape. You can see here they'll clean up really nice. I used to know what these were called, and I don't remember anymore. Anyway, we got to get those sandblasted and sprayed. They've got some sort of undercoating on them that we got to get off. But other than that, even the rubbers, you know what we're going to do with those, right? We give them a little plasti dip. That's right. Our trusty plasti dip is never far from our right hand. All right. It's a Friday night, and I'm tired. We had some family stuff today that was not good, and that is life. And Sue will be dearly missed. We had to say goodbye today. So, I'm going to go in and spend some time with my wife, and life goes on. There's not a lot you can do. Cherish the memories and hold high the memory of the special ones. All right, I'm off. Grab something to eat before I go to bed. Anyway, I'll be back on in the morning. All right. All right, I'm just going to back up a bit, and I want to talk about something that was on the door, the interior door skin video. This is me working on the second door skin. It was in a lot worse shape than the first one. I am using frog tape. Hang on a second. Let me, okay, this stuff is expensive. It's got this paint block technology, they call it, which seals the edges. I don't know what other tapes on the market have that. I use frog tape because I know it works. So I spend the extra money on one roll of it to do little jobs like this. And I take the time to go along these edges and make them as perfect as I can. Now, if we don't have any bleed through, and I've stuck them all down properly, it's the same with cutting the vinyl for the insert here. If you're going to go and do the job, do a decent job. Don't just stick it on, have the paint, go over the edge and have it look sloppy. It's these little details that you can put into your work that gives it that professional look. How do you think pros do it? They're relying on their talent and the little tricks that they learn for doing these jobs over years and years. So on a job like this, if I was working for somebody and they said, Colin, I need customers' cars coming in and it needs done properly, this is how I would do it. I'd use the frog tape and I'd make sure that my seams were as perfect as I could get them. Okay, even the corners. Now, why am I pointing this out right now? I watched somebody post on a page. I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to point them out. I'm not trying to embarrass them or anything. And they were bragging about what they had done. And I looked at it. And I felt bad. I felt bad for them. And I felt bad that that the way they looked. I understand that's them doing their best, and I praise them for doing it. But if you're gonna do it, ask questions, get all the little tips and tricks, because those little differences make all the differences in the world. And you want it coming out looking nice and looking professional. It doesn't take a lot. Sometimes it's just buying the right tape or spending an extra 5 minutes. I don't know if this is going to focus here. Spending an extra 5 minutes putting it on and making sure all your lines are nice and straight. See right there? Look right there. It's lifting up a little bit right there. I got to tuck that back down. But anyway, you get the idea. I'll show you when I'm done. Look how nice and clean that edge is. So if you take the time and you use the right products, sure, it costs a tiny little bit more to buy a roll of frog tape than it does to buy regular painter's tape. But you can see the difference. It really comes up nice. Okay, I'm here with little Mike Tyson. Just wanted to show you what I was working on yesterday. I've got this old vacuum that I had kicking around. And hey Mike, what's going on, buddy? That's little Mike Tyson. That's Bolt. Anyway, I got this. I bought this Cyclone off of Amazon this week. And I put a hole in the bucket, stuck it in there, and we're gonna be. I gotta go get the proper fittings right now at Home Depot, and because I got the wrong size hook up there, so I'm gonna get that sorted out and get that hooked up to the Sandblaster today, and that should keep the air clean in the Sandblaster, make it a little easier to see what I'm doing. All right, I'll show you it working later on. Okay, here's our Sandblaster, and what I did was it had a round flat plastic plug on this end, an opening for you to be able to do things with. It was already here, so I took it. I know the light's not very good, and I made this fitting here. Here, does that help? There, I made that fitting there to fit through the hole. I just melted it through, and I used some glue with a glue gun and put 4 self-tappers in it. And there we go. Now it's on the side. It's ready for a hookup. So I'm going to go get our fancy new Cyclone, plug it in, and see how it goes. It seems to clear the air up pretty quickly. It doesn't stop it from getting foggy in here, but it certainly helps. I think the next upgrade I'm going to have to do is to change my glass out. It's too pitted. one of my customers. Apparently, as a salt truck. Apparently, it's salty. Parking lot clears. Bet you it doesn't in record time. Cool.